This is the High Stakes Lowdown, a RotoViz podcast brought to you by the Fantasy Football Players Championship. I'm Eric Balkman from the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour, the Better Sports Network, and the FFPC. You can connect with me on X at Eric Balkman and the FFPC on X at FFPC. Before we get into the show, I want to remind everyone that you can get a listeners-only 10% discount to RotoViz by using the code RVRadio2025. That's RVRadio 2025. Your subscription gives you unlimited access to all of the RotoViz content and tools, and it supports the podcast channel as well. Now, without further ado, here's the latest episode of the RotoViz High Stakes Lowdown. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is the first edition of the in-season version of the RotoViz High Stakes Lowdown. So glad to have you aboard this afternoon, a special Monday edition. I apologize we did not get one out last Tuesday like we normally do, but flight was coming back late from Las Vegas. A whole bunch of other stuff happened, and obviously got the other shows on Thursday and Friday. So we're making it happen this Monday. And I want to remind everybody, too, just because the season is over doesn't mean, or the drafting season is over doesn't mean that you still can't play with the FFPC. We have the FFPC Week 3 Weekly Challenge aboard right now, the Thursday edition and the Sunday edition. You can win up to $2,500, 10, 30, and 100-team contests. It's basically the same format as our world-famous playoff challenge. There's no draft. There's no salary cap. You are just picking the 10 or 12 players that you want and watching them ride through the weekend's games. Remember, only one player per NFL team. If you want Geno Smith, you can't have Brock Bowers. If you want Ashton Genty, you can't have Jacoby Myers. If you want Baker Mayfield, you cannot have Mike Evans. 10, 30, and 100 teams available now. myffpc.com. That's myffpc.com. Want to bring in our guest tonight, ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon, I guess, if you're in the Central Time Zone, a guy who's won, I don't know, countless Big Gorilla and countless FFPC Main Event teams. He is sitting as we entered week 2 play, which is ending tonight. But coming into week 2 play, he was sitting in third place overall in the FFPC Main Event in his pursuit for that $1 million grand prize. Please welcome in the Texas felon himself, Mr. Jamey Joseph. Jamey, good afternoon and welcome.
Balky, what's going on, man? I'm glad you got the time right.
Yes, exactly. And my apologies on that. I something wasn't sitting right when I sent you that email. I'm like, I need to check that email again. And then I noticed I sent you the wrong time, but I'm glad you hopped aboard. Listen, we have to start off this interview with the question everybody wants to know. How was the 9 Inch Nails concert this weekend?
9 Inch Nails was awesome. Played all my favorites. It was a show, man. We had a good time.
That where was this in Houston that they were playing?
Toyota Center.
Okay, very cool. And have you seen them before?
So I saw 9 Inch Nails when they first started back at a club called Numbers, before they were even anybody, and it was just probably 100 people in a club and us, and we rocked out. Marilyn Manson, same thing. So yeah, it's a pretty cool little club that's here in Houston that a lot of, if you're old enough, you know about it. If you're not old, you don't know about it. So
you saw 9 Inch Nails before their thing, Marilyn Manson before their thing. Is there another one? Is there a band that we should be looking out for that you've already seen there? Well, it's going to be the next big thing.
Hey, that was back in my younger days, back when I was, doing all the wrong things. So yeah, now I'm older and wiser. So yeah, no, I just enjoy the people I know.
Well, you said you're doing all the wrong things in your younger days, I should say. In your current state, you are doing all the right things, at least as far as it's concerned with Daniel Jones. I looked at a bunch of your teams. You have Daniel Jones on a bunch of them, Jamey, this year. I don't know if you picked him up after week 1 or if you drafted him, but what is it that had about Daniel Jones that has you saying, like, look, this guy needs to be rostered? And by the way, he's like the number 2 fantasy quarterback in the league right now, which is insane to me.
Right. No, I did draft him quite a bit during the actual drafts. And then after week 1, when I was only, but I had one quarterback in so many leagues, especially when I take a quarterback early. I don't go any quarterbacks after that for the most part. So I always think it's wise to add a quarterback either the second or third week. And it presented itself that he was there. And I like the offense he's in. I think he has a a good support system there, and I think he's going to do good things the rest of the season. Obviously, look what he did against Denver, which is probably the best defense in the league.
That's my thing is it's fine what he did in week 1. Like, okay, cool. Or cool, as all the kids are saying now. But to do it against Denver, and then I have to look this up. I think they have a cupcake. Is it the Titans they have next week? Yeah,
I think so. Yes,
they're in Tennessee, and he can cut them up too. So, and you think about all these injuries too, Jamey, like that happened to quarterbacks this week. You already had Brock Purdy down, Jaden Daniels. We don't know if he's going to go. You had Joe Burrow go down. You had Justin Fields with the concussion.
JJ McCarthy. I mean, there's a laundry list of them. I mean, and so he's definitely a plug and play, and who knows, he might be someone's number 1 down the road.
And I think that's the thing too, is like people look at it, and especially in these single quarterback leagues, you look at it from the standpoint of like, oh, he's a quarterback, I can pick him up if I need to later on. Think how many people would have loved to pick up Daniel Jones last week that have any of these injured, McCarthy, Purdy, Fields, Burrow, any of these injured quarterbacks. Now, if Jones is out there this week, he's obviously coming at a premium just because of supply and demand. And the other thing is, like, all these other teams that need quarterbacks, at least in your leagues, Jamey, Jones isn't available because you already have him. This is why it's so important to be proactive with this kind of stuff.
No, and absolutely, I agree with that 110%. So I'm not afraid to go out and spend money in the on the waiver wire early to get the players I want and need. So absolutely, I picked him up without hesitation. So
let's talk about the Denver game yesterday. It was really a coming out party for Troy Franklin. He led the Broncos in catches, targets, and snaps. And as a Cortland Sutton owner, and I think you have Cortland Sutton on a few teams as well, how concerning was it for you to see Bo Nix throw the ball 30 times and yet Sutton only comes away with 1 catch for 6 yards? Is this just a one-off? Are you nervous about the usage of Franklin and now Mims and everything like that as well? How do you feel about Cortland Sutton after what you saw against the Colts yesterday for Denver?
Well, I mean, everybody that's a Cortland Sutton fan is hoping it's a one-off. I mean, I am in that camp because I love me some Cortland Sutton. So I have him on probably at least 10 teams, and I was all in on Cortland Sutton. I mean, I loved what he did at the end of last year. So hopefully it's just a one-off. But, yeah, I mean, look at the flip side of that. Evan Ingram, if you're an Evan Ingram guy, I mean, the last 2 weeks have been brutal, and he was a top 7 draft tight end, I mean, in the draft. So, he's spreading the ball around, unfortunately, at the cost of Cortland Sutton and Evan Ingram. So
I can't remember who said it last week. So one of the analysts I was listening to said it might have been Alfredo Brown from Football Guys. I'm not sure. But he said something to the effect of, it's Sean Payton. Who knows? Adam Troutman could be playing over Evan Ingram. This, and then lo and behold, what happened? He was out there. I think he got they split the snaps like 60-40 in favor of Troutman or something like that. Which, I mean, I don't get it. But listen, we knew the risks of drafting Sean Payton players. I'm with you. I hope it's just a one-off. And maybe Sutton will have 10 grabs next week. You just never know these things. This is a heavy tight end episode. I feel like the Cleveland Browns thing has kind of been interesting here. We saw in week 1, David Njoku get fewer targets, catches, and yards than Harold Fannin. And then this week it was more balanced, I think. Fannin catches all of his targets again, but you're looking at about 50-50 or maybe 55-45 split. Do you view this as that's just how the Browns are going to be this year? Or do you view this as, look, Fannin's getting like half the snaps now. Just think about what he's going to be doing in week 5 or week 8 or week 10. Are we seeing a changing of the guard here?
I don't know if it's necessarily a changing the guard, but there's just so many targets right now on that offense, and there's not enough balls to go around. And you add Fannin into the mix. And to be honest, no one knew Fannin was going to be a thing until I think the last week of the drafts, when they came out and they held Fannin out, Njoku and Jerry Jeudy, and they say we're going to utilize both tight ends heavily in the offense, and so at that point, Njoku's been going at 5, 6, 7, still went at 5, 6, 7. So it's a problem for Njoku holders. I mean, I'm one of them. I have him on probably 8 teams. And I draft him as my number 1 tight end. So it's a huge problem. I mean, you never wish an injury on anybody, but it's going to take an injury to get one of those guys going. Otherwise, the targets are just going to be, in my mind right now, it looks like not good for either one of those guys.
It's tough because FFPC is tight end. It's a tight end premium format. So you want to say, okay, we'll give the benefit of the doubt to these tight ends. But at the same time, I mean, like you look at what Fannin has done now. Like week 1, obviously not a lot of people started him. 7 catches, 63 yards. That's fantastic. We love that, right? Yeah. And then week 2, it gets a little bit more dicey. He sees basically half the amount of targets he saw week 1. He catches 5, all 5 of them for 48 yards. And then you're looking at like, okay, you're looking at like 13, 14 points. That's still probably okay. But what happens the week that he only gets 3 or 4 targets and then Njoku goes, it's like to your point, I think it might take an injury here to one of these guys and we love the Browns offense as far as fantasy goes, because it doesn't seem like they're going to be very good, which means they're probably going to be throwing,
right.
And as long as Flacco is the quarterback in there, that dude loves throwing downfield. Right. So there's going to be a lot of potential there.
Yeah. Last year he loved it. I mean, he's always loved Njoku, but this year, who knows what's going to happen this year?
Yeah. So. No, we're still finding out. We're still gathering information.
Well, in the short time, look at Hawkinson, look at Laporta, look at these guys. These guys aren't producing either, and they're number 1 in the top 5 tight ends in the draft. So, it's a weird start to the season, man. To me, it's just overall been a weird start. I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, you just have a lot of guys that weren't producing. Then all of a sudden, Henry has 33 points the first week. This week he has 2, 3. I don't know what it was, but so yeah, it's just been a weird start. So
the Browns will get the Packers at home this coming Sunday, and that could be another game. I think it's a 9.5 point spread, so that could be another game where Cleveland's throwing, the last third of the game where they're throwing quite a bit, and we'll see what happens.
What was Jerry Jones thinking? Man, a gift.
I always thought that and it's maybe not true, Jamey, anymore of left tackles, but I always used to think that if you had a left tackle, if you had a quarterback, or if you had a pass rusher, they were of the elite nature, you hold on to them like grim death. You never let go of them.
Absolutely.
I think you can make the case that other positions are maybe not as elite. Think about middle linebacker, running back, tight end. Maybe that's a little bit more palatable to let those guys go for a couple of first round picks, but to trade a pass rusher for a guy who hasn't yet entered his prime, and a player that is a unicorn. Sigmund Bloom always calls it the planet theory, where there's just not very many people on the planet that can do what Parsons does. Yep. And to part with him for 2 first round picks and a declining defensive tackle, right. It's not something I would have done.
No, not me either.
But we'll see what happens going forward for Dallas to see what they've already utilized some of that Parsons money to lock up Deron Bland, and I think Tyler Smith, their guard. So 2 of the future.
I mean, I don't know what good that did. I mean, you saw the Giants game, and it's like, where was the secondary? I mean, I don't know. Maybe because they didn't have a pass rush, right?
that could be. And then now they have Jadeveon Clowney, trying to patch that up too. So not the way I would have gone, but Jerry Jones definitely flies by the seat of his pants and goes to the beat of his own drum. Cade Otton, speaking of tight ends, he puts up a bagel in week 1. That was really the Emeka Egbuka game. No Chris Godwin tonight, obviously. What do you expect from Cade Otton when he takes on somewhat of a stout Texans defense here in week 2 on Monday Night Football?
I would expect more target share, definitely. I think, he's coming off that injury, so he didn't have many practices with I think he maybe had 1 or 2 practices going into that first weekend. So I didn't expect much out of him. I would expect a little bit more out of him tonight. So we'll just see how it goes. But, yeah, I hope not too much because we're playing my Texans.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. I will say Otton did see 3 targets last week, it was 5th on the team, but it was only 1 fewer than Bucky Irving. The 3 guys or the 2 guys you would expect to see all the targets, Egbuka and Evans, and then Sterling Shepard also saw 6 of them. Well, again, Otton tonight is going to be interesting. I don't think many people started him, but certainly if he gets things going tonight and, sees 5, 6, 7 targets, maybe catches 3 or 4, I mean, feel better about him going into week 3 for sure.
Absolutely.
The Chiefs thing, the Chiefs-Eagles game was interesting yesterday, and we'll get into the Eagles here in a second. But I want to talk about Hollywood Brown sees 16 targets in week 1. Obviously, that was not sustainable. And then he only sees, I can't remember what it was. I think he had 5 grabs yesterday.
It wasn't many.
It wasn't many.
No.
And so, you think about the Giants game next week, who gave up a ton of passing yardage via Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens. Even Kevontae Turpin getting in there a little bit. Jake Ferguson obviously had a big game.
Ferguson had a game.
So you think about next week when the Chiefs are desperately looking for a win. If Xavier Worthy does miss that game, and I don't know, he might miss it, he might not. Knowing that secondary, knowing what the Giants defense has given up so far this year, do you still believe in Hollywood Brown that game? How strong of a start would he be this coming weekend, Jamey, if Worthy is out?
I mean, if you're in trouble at wide receiver, then you have to start him against the Giants. I mean, but he's proven that he's not a number one target in my mind. And Philly proved that just yesterday. So, yeah, I would play him if I didn't have any alternatives. But I think Worthy's coming back, so hopefully we don't even have to talk about that.
Yeah, that'd be the issue. Is whether he's out there or not. And I think that the more I read about this thing with Worthy, it sounds like he's probably going to have surgery. And I think the hope is that he can put that off until the offseason, because if you have to have shoulder surgery in the middle of the season, or at least the beginning of the season, you're probably going to be missing the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I see someone commented, Chiefs offense looks lost. Absolutely. If you're a holder of any Chief player right now, you should be concerned. I mean, especially like Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, he is just turned into a dud. So, Kelsey, I mean, they look completely lost. They're in trouble.
Yeah, and Kelsey too. I mean, 4 for 61 seems okay, but I couldn't believe he let that touchdown bounce off his hand.
No kidding.
And this should have been the game that he really makes a statement with no Worthy, no Rice. This should have been his game. And instead, he only gets one more target than Brown, one more target than Tyquan Thornton, of all people. Tyquan Thornton, who had 2 catches for 59 yards, and he gets in the end zone as well. But even Mahomes, Jamey, at this point right now, you are right. I don't feel good about any Kansas City Chief until I see something here. And granted, I know it was the Eagles defense. They get the Giants this week. We might be singing a different song,
right.
Next Sunday afternoon. But I think that the point remains here. Like, trust, Matthew Barrio says this, trust is a strong word, and it's very difficult to trust any Chief in your starting lineup right now. Speaking of trust, or maybe lack thereof, Bryce Young had another slow start yesterday. Second consecutive game where it looked like he was just going to be a complete failure for those people playing in Superflex leagues, or maybe they had to start him because they're missing Brock Purdy or what have you. He gets going later in the game thanks to some big plays from him and Tetairoa McMillan and Hunter Renfrow. They actually almost pull out a miracle victory against the Cardinals on the road. Are you still a believer in Bryce Young, knowing what we've seen from the majority, 6.5, 7 quarters of him this season, and then based on this really strong fourth quarter? Do you still believe in him? I liked him as a quarterback too during drafting season, and I got to admit, I've been a little underwhelmed with him so far. No,
absolutely. I'm definitely underwhelmed. I think he'll come around. Again, he's a good spot starter in my mind, depending on the matchup, obviously. But yeah, he's not a number one. I think he's in a good system. He's got people around him that will make him look good. He's reviving Hunter Renfrow's career, so he's doing something right. So
I'll just bring this up too, and maybe we'll get into this later on in the show, but I'll bring it up right now just so I don't forget. In that game yesterday, that Carolina game, McMillan had 10 targets. Jatavian Sanders had 9. Hunter Renfrow also had 9. Obviously, McMillan was the headliner because he got 6 for 100. But Renfrow got the 2 touchdowns, 7 for 48 and 2 touchdowns. Jatavian Sanders, 7 catches for 54 yards. And obviously, anytime Bryce Young throws for 328 yards, as they're desperately trying to come back, these numbers get inflated. What do you make of Sanders and especially here, Jamey, Renfrow, who's on the waiver wire in a lot of FFPC leagues right now?
I mean, I wouldn't spend too much money on either of those players, but if you're hurting at those positions, I mean, they're definitely worth picking up because, like you said, they're going to be playing from behind all year long. And I think it only gets better with those players on spot starts. It's not guys you want to start weekly, in my mind anyway. But you could be in trouble at tight end, and maybe you need a Jatavian Sanders or a Hunter Renfrow, a wide receiver. So.
It's one of those, I think Tom Smith said in the chat earlier, the tight ends went on strike this week. And if you're looking for tight end help, I mean, Jatavian Sanders, 7 for 54. This was a guy that We heard the preseason reports that he had slimmed down. He looked a lot stronger. He looked faster this year as well. This is his second year, I believe, out of Texas, I want to say. I know he was out of Texas. I think this is second year. Yeah. So last year he plays in 16 games, has 33 catches all year. In 2 games this year, he's already got 9 grabs. So it looks like, and like anytime you can get a tight end in tight end premium scoring that's doing that, certainly you want to make sure that you're aware of his presence on the waiver wire and then getting him on your roster if you can afford the roster space.
Yeah, I want to say in most of the main event, he is rostered for the most part, I would think, because he was always going 15th, 16th, 17th round.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and he may not be out there. I mean, like the only you always have to make sure, do your due diligence on the waiver wire every week. Make sure he's not rostered in your league, and then pick him up if he is, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's go back to your state of Texas, the Dallas Cowboys, and Javonte Williams. 2 weeks in a row, this guy has really impressed me. I did not see week 1 coming for Javonte Williams. I did not see week 2 coming for Javonte Williams. He has a stranglehold in that backfield. I will say Miles Sanders got a couple of carries inside the 5-yard line, but it's been all Javonte Williams. Jaden Blue has been inactive now for 2 consecutive weeks. So I think that he's out of the equation, at least momentarily, or at least for the time being. They get the Bears, who gave up 130,000 points this past week to the Lions. Javonte Williams, is he a must start in week 3?
Absolutely. I mean, look what Gibbs and Montgomery did to him. I mean, between the two of them, they scored, I want to say 40 points, fantasy points, I think. I could be wrong on that. But, I mean, look, at the beginning of the season, everybody's saying Javonte Williams is a dud. Don't draft him. He's not draftable. He's not a number 1. I was one of them.
I was
one of them. I mean, I was believing it. So, everybody thought he was just going to be a turd, but now he's proven to be wrong. He's got a good offensive line. They're throwing the ball around now. They've got 2 outstanding wide receivers. So I think top 5 through. Top
2 weeks. Yeah,
2 weeks easy. I mean, if I had him on every team, I would be very happy at this point.
The thing is, and the longer this continues, the deeper the hole is for Miles Sanders, the deeper the hole is for Jaden Blue, as long as Williams can keep this up.
I mean, how high did Jaden Blue go? Everybody thought Jaden Blue was going to be the starter.
Yeah.
And now he's, like you said, been inactive. So
he was
crazy.
And there was that report earlier from a former Cowboys coach. This is way early in drafting season, saying that the Cowboys had to kick him in the rear end to get him going, that his work ethic wasn't there. That he just didn't seem ready to play pro ball. And then training camp starts and everything about that gets thrown out the window. They're loving what Jaden Blue is doing. He's getting first team reps. He's catching balls, everything you want to hear. And then he was going to like the 8th, 9th round, somewhere around there in FFPC Main Event. But yeah, sometimes later than that, depending upon when you draft, when you drafted. And it's the whole mystery box thing, Jamey. And I'm guilty of this as well. I know what Javonte Williams is. I know what Miles Sanders is. I don't know what Jaden Blue was or is. And that's why I ended up taking him. Like if I had to take a Cowboys running back, and I took Javonte Williams in a couple of spots, but most of the time I was taking Blue because I just figured if he was going to be anything, the value was there. And now Javonte Williams is just burying both of these guys because it's going to take a few bad performances for Williams before the Cowboys look to Sanders or Blue.
Well, look, and he's even getting a third down. A lot of the third down work, which nobody thought he would get. Now he's catching passes out of the backfield, which nobody thought would ever happen. So that's why, in my mind, in these the FFPC events, he was like, don't draft him. He's a nobody. He's not going to do any good. But now look at him. He's proving everybody wrong. And man, I'm a believer. I'm a big Javonte Williams fan right now.
At this point, it's hard not to be. I mean, you sort of have to be.
What's fun to watch is, after the game, the drafts after that game. I mean, Javonte Williams is going 5th, 6th. Yeah. I did a homer pick. I picked him up in the 6th round in one of those drafts. So I'll admit to that. But I'm pleasantly surprised.
Jamey, watching that opening game against the Eagles, I was talking with Dave Terpoli after Williams had scored his second touchdown earlier in the second.
He was not a fan. He was not a big fan at all.
No. And then I talked to Dave, and Dave was losing his mind. He couldn't believe he was seeing. And I said, what happens? Because we still had the last 2/3 of the game to go. I said to him, Like, what happens, dude, if he scores a third touchdown? Where does Williams go? And Terp says he's going at the 1-2 turn. If Javonte Williams gets a third touchdown tonight, he's going at the 1-2 turn. Now, that didn't happen, and obviously that didn't happen, but it would have been fun to see for sure.
Those drops are the funnest. I love to see where the guys go that probably shouldn't be getting drafted. But he is definitely deserving of that 5-6 turn where he was getting drafted after the game. So he's deserving of that.
I wonder too, with, and we touched on this on a previous show about the trade of Micah Parsons to the Packers that obviously weakened the Cowboys defense. And I wonder if there's something to be said for, having more shootout potential that's going to work in Javonte Williams' favor. That's going to allow him to chew up more yardage and be in the end zone more, because the Cowboys are not going to be shutting down opposing offenses the way that they had been previously.
Absolutely. I agree with that 110%. That's going to happen. I mean, they're going to have to either choose their poison, stop the run or stop the passing game. And right now, Dak Prescott looks really good. Pleasantly surprised with him. So yeah, the opposing defenses are going to have their hands full with the Cowboys.
Okay, let's move on here and talk about Hunter Henry. He caught one pass against one of the league's worst defenses. If we can't play him against the Dolphins, when can we start him, Jamey? I'm going to put you on full screen right now. I'm just going to step up for 1 second, but you go ahead and answer this question.
Okay. I'm hoping it's just a one-off week here that happened, because I actually got him as a starter, because I went wide receiver heavy, then I went running back for God knows how long, and picked him up in the 12th or 13th. So I'm hoping that it's a one-off. So, and I think it will be. So, I mean, there's a lot of tight ends that are in trouble the first 2 weeks. You're back to Laporta and Hawkinson. So, to name a few, if you picked up Colston in the 10th, you're having some big problems too. So the tight ends have disappeared. Some of the best tight ends have disappeared, unfortunately. And I have no idea where he went. I didn't know I was going to have to host the show too.
Jamey, I'm totally sorry about that. I'm back.
No, you're
now.
Good. I was getting ready to host the show.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't have a guest, but I was getting ready to start talking.
Right. Just interview yourself, basically. It's happened before on this program. So with Henry too, I thought that there was a lot of people that had the opportunity to pick up guys like, not pick up, because I think Juwan Johnson was taken in a lot of leagues, but he was picked up in a bunch of leagues, and they had to make that decision. Like with all the people who were missing Kittle, they had to come up with a plan B for tight end. And Hunter Henry obviously let it. And I'll be honest with you, Travion Henderson let a lot of people down, myself included. I just felt like this was going to be the Henderson breakout game, and it did not happen.
It's a Ramondre Stevenson breakout.
The Ramondre Stevenson revival game. And then to add insult to insult, Antonio Gibson even gets in the end zone as well. Granted, it was a kickoff return for a touchdown, but just unbelievable stuff.
Between Henderson and Harvey Henderson's going 2-3, maybe 4, and then Harvey was going 4-5, and those guys have done nothing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So this is like we've been talking about a lot of late round guys here or mid round guys. This is actually semi-serious when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, Jamey. They threw for 101 yards yesterday. And this was a game that
Goddard was out.
Mm-hmm. This is a game that they won as well. This was a game that, quite frankly, I know that the final score suggested a closer game, but Philadelphia really dominated this game. Brown and Devonta Smith, I was of the opinion that the Eagles were going to regress a little bit this year when it comes to how successful they were on the ground.
Now it's only been 2 weeks, but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
We're still seeing a lot of success on the ground. And John Hansen from Fantasy Points was saying, somebody's got to stop these guys. They're setting back professional football 100 years where they're just running and doing all these tush pushes, and they're doing it succauely. So they don't have to throw it to AJ Brown. No. They don't have to throw it to Devonta Smith. And Devonta Smith, obviously, he made that big grab that kind of sealed the victory when he caught that jump ball late. But how serious do we consider sitting AJ Brown, sitting Devonta Smith in our lineups, knowing that this pass volume is nowhere close to where you thought it was going to be, or at least I thought it was going to be when we were drafting AJ Brown, when we were drafting Devonta Smith?
So the first game, Goddard had all the catches. I don't know what he did. I think he had 15, 16 fantasy points. I'm not sure. And then he's out this week. So you automatically assume that AJ Brown and Devonta Smith for sure are going to get a ton of targets, which they didn't. And again, back to your point, they're running the ball successfully. And it's like, you know what, if we're going to make you stop the run before we even think to pass the ball. And that's what it looks like it's happening. Hopefully, if it goes 3 weeks like this, at some point you have to look if you have the depth, hopefully that you need. I mean, yeah, I'm benching those guys in some cases.
I thought about it this week with both of them, and I don't think I think in all the leagues I had Brown and Smith, I think I played them in all of them.
I did too, but I mean, you'll have to start to think that way if this production keeps going the way of the running back. And look, everybody was down on Saquon Barkley, so hell yeah, he's going to regress and he's not going to have a terrible year, but he's top 3, top 4 running back right now. I have to say, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I think that's accurate. I think that's accurate. Yeah. The next week for the Eagles, they host the Los Angeles Rams, who obviously they have had a pretty serious passing attack with Adams and with Nakua. Yeah, thank you. The total in that game is 44.5. The Eagles are 3.5 point favorites. If the Rams get out to a lead, which I don't know if they would, but that's what you kind of got to root for if you're starting Brown and Smith, is have the Rams get out to a 10-0 lead or a 13-0 lead, 14-0, something like that, where the Eagles are forced, like they just can't sit on it and grind out these drives. So that's something to watch for sure. I think you're right. I think 3 weeks of this stuff that's when you have to start seriously considering, like, okay, what does my depth look like?
That's right.
Am I gonna play Wan'Dale Robinson over Devonta Smith? Serious conversations. This is
those are good conversations.
You've been through this before, a long-time high-stakes veteran. All this stuff we do in drafting season, I don't want to say we throw it out the window once late September hits, but there is definitely a new conversation, a new normal when it comes to everything we believe this summer and then everything that's happening on the field. And you got to be ready to switch.
You do at any time. I'm not afraid to do that. I'm not afraid to bench a stud if he's not producing, in lieu of like you said, a Wan'Dale Robinson. If you did that these last couple of weeks, you look like a genius.
The other thing I wanted to talk with you about, we touched on this earlier, but I wanted to bring it up again. The aspect of the waiver wire this week after week 2, the player or players that you're looking at, Jamey, this week that you think you're going to be aggressive on the waiver wire for? I know you said earlier you're not afraid to spend money, and I think that's the right way to do it in September. A player that you're looking to acquire, and then a player that that you're looking to, like, maybe move on from, maybe saying, like, look, I know I drafted this guy in like the 12th, 13th, 14th round or whatever it is, but this has been 2 weeks. I'm seeing nothing. I'm ready to move on. Do any of those players match either of those categories that come to mind right now?
I mean, I like Alamar.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Alamander. So I think he's probably rostered in most leagues. I like him a lot. Wan'Dale Robinson, I know, is out there in several leagues that I'll be looking to try to add him as well. Guys that I want to get rid of, man, there's so many. I mean, that's a loaded question. So, in most of those guys that I want to get rid of, maybe like a Torrey Horton. I mean, he hasn't done much. I don't see him being. I thought he was going to do a lot more in the early stages, like for sure in the first 2 weeks. So, he's got 1 touchdown and maybe 3 or 4 targets at most. So, Troy Franklin's probably going to be out there. Pat Bryant, believe it or not, was going before Troy Franklin in most of the main event drafts that I did. Sometimes even Franklin was being left, wasn't even being drafted. So I did draft Franklin quite a few times, but yeah, he's one that I would definitely add.
There was some comments in the chat right now. Caleb Johnson, Steve G is saying that he would be looking at dropping him. Would you? I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could drop Caleb Johnson yet. Would you be able to do that?
Well, I mean, look, some guys that went wide receiver heavy had Caleb Johnson as their starter. I'm one of them in at least one league, and so yeah, it's hard to stomach, but he's not playing. I mean, Jaylen Warren's killing it, and Caleb Johnson is nowhere to be found. So yeah, I couldn't stomach dropping him just yet, but probably ask me at week 5 if it's the same stuff, and yeah, I'm probably dropping him.
Hecky is also watching us. Should he trade T. Higgins for Brian Thomas Jr., excuse me. When you think about those two players, Higgins obviously dealing with the loss of Joe Burrow, and Thomas Jr., who's still getting a lot of the targets. He's just not. He got 12 targets yesterday, just couldn't get it done. Do you envision Higgins taking a step back and Thomas sort of positively regressing to the mean with Trevor Lawrence?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Yeah, with Burrow out for the foreseeable future, probably it could be the rest of the season. I think I'm holding on to Brian Thomas. I like that offense. I like what they're doing. The Travis Hunter thing, I'm thoroughly disappointed in Hunter. I mean, the more defense he plays, the less I like him on offense.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, back to the trade. I wouldn't do that trade.
You would rather get Thomas Jr. the rest of the way than Higgins?
I would, with a good quarterback and the uncertainty of whether or not since he goes out and tries to get another quarterback, which I don't think they're going to do. I wouldn't do it. That's just my personal preference.
And I'm with you on that. I mean, like, I'm quite frankly, I'm treating Chase Brown basically the same way I was treating Chase Brown prior to this injury. I'm going to say the same thing for Jamar Chase. And I think by and large, I'm still saying the same thing with T. Higgins. Like, I know Browning's a drop-off, but the Bengals defense is still not good. They're still going to get into shootouts like they did with Jacksonville yesterday as well. So I'm of the opinion that while this stinks, like, from sort of not a metaphoric standpoint, this stinks like when you consider the drop-off from Burrow down to Browning. The stats, I don't know, man. Like the stats might not be all that different. I could be exaggerating how good Browning's going to be, but we have seen in this league that if you are a competent quarterback, which I think Browning has shown us that he is, competent backup quarterback, you're going to do enough to keep the stats afloat for Chase, to keep the stats afloat for Higgins. Like, you're going to still keep these guys relevant.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I still would keep Brian Thomas over Higgins at this point.
Let's do one final question here for you, Jamey, as we get ready for a double dip of Monday Night Football tonight. Is there any player that maybe we've talked about, maybe we haven't talked about so far tonight, that you have big concerns with entering week 3? And then another player that's really starting to earn your trust, that you want to start this guy every week, or at least more and more as a flex?
Well, I mean, look at the Denver backfield. I mean, R.J. Harvey goes as an RB1 in almost all the drafts, or an RB2. I'm trusting Dobbins all day long now. I took him anywhere from the 10th to the 12th round in most drafts that I was able to get him. So, yeah, I'm playing Dobbins over Harvey and not looking back.
Dobbins over Harvey, I think you're right. And honestly, the thorn in my side in that backfield is Tyler Bidet. Like, get him out of there. Like,
yeah, right.
Like,
and what about Deebo Samuel? Deebo Samuel. I mean, he's rejuvenated. I mean, he's surprising everybody. So that's another one that I think I played him in one league, but I had him benched in several others. But I'm starting to be a believer in him. It looks like he's got fresh legs and got a new start, and everything's working out well there now. Jaden Daniels is out, so maybe that. Maybe I'll take that back if he doesn't play.
Well, and I'll say that, and we don't know if he's out yet. I mean, he might miss a week, he might miss 2 weeks, and then they have Carson Wentz stepping in, who has shown himself to be, again, capable enough to keep the fantasy values of McLaurin and Samuel up there, and Zach Ertz, quite frankly, too, who showed out these first couple of weeks. Yeah. But yeah, Samuel's really surprised me. The fact that it really seemed to be bottoming out in San Francisco, and then he goes to. Again, and I always worry about stuff like this. new head coach, new OC, new quarterback, new offense. Like, and he seemed to not only handle that, he's embracing it and really thriving with this new offense too, which Jaden Daniels has a tendency to do. Now, if it's Wentz this week, I think we temper our expectations a little bit, but he's getting involved in the ground game too. So there's a lot to like about Samuel right now. No,
I agree 100%. I'm going to be interested to see how JCM, how that whole backfield looks now with Eckler gone. So that's going to be fun to watch.
The way I'm treating it is I believe that Krosky Merritt's going to get the majority of the touches, obviously. But I do think Rodriguez comes in for short yardage. I think he could be a touchdown vulture. And then McNichols was running a lot of routes, even with Eckler healthy last week. So I wonder if he's going to be the passing down guy.
I don't know, man. I hope not. I like Bill. Let's call him Bill.
Bill,
like
yes.
Bill. Yes.
I do too. Yeah. Well, and like I drafted him in a couple of dynasty leagues, in the 4th round or whatever it was. And then I started drafting him in like the 8th or 9th round of redraft leagues as we're getting closer to the start of the season.
Me
so
too.
I'd like to see some return on that
Me
investment.
too. Most definitely. I'd like to see the return.
I think Washington, if I remember correctly, they have a get right game. Yeah. So they get the Raiders this coming Sunday. It's a 1:00 start, and the Raiders are playing tonight. So they'll be down a week of practice, and the Commanders are 3.5-point favorites. Hopefully, Jaden Daniels is healthy for that game, and we could see a big game for both Krosky Merritt and Deebo Samuel and that whole Commanders offense as well.
Without a doubt.
It's early in the season. Final question. How do you feel about entering week 2 in 3rd place overall? That had to be pretty cool to see.
I felt pretty good about it until yesterday. So I think I dropped all the way down to 50th, but that's okay. I mean, it's go figure. I mean, Allen has a 40-point performance last week, and he has a 13-point performance this week. So it's fantasy football. But hey, we got a lot of weeks left, and so I'm sitting pretty with a few teams, and I'll take the 3rd, and whatever I end up tonight, hopefully Dicker the kicker can give me 20 points.
Right, exactly. Yes, he is the Texas Felon. He began week 2 in 3rd place overall in the FFPC main event. Jamey Joseph joining me tonight on the RotoViz High Stakes Lowdown. Thanks so much for hopping aboard, man. Always love our conversations. Enjoy the games tonight. Enjoy week 3, and good luck the rest of the way, man.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. That is Jamey Joseph, ladies and gentlemen, hopping aboard the RotoViz High Stakes Lowdown today here on a special Monday edition. That doesn't mean that we're not doing a show tomorrow. We will still have a Tuesday, normal Tuesday, 10 p.m. start tomorrow for Derek Greer, the longtime FFPC KFFSC champion. He's going to join me at 10 o'clock tomorrow for the RotoViz High Stakes Lowdown. That's going to be a lot of fun as well. Remember, even though we are wrapping up week 2 tonight, you can still get into the week 3 FFPC Weekly Challenge. That is available at myffpc.com. Win up to $2,500. No drafts, no salary caps. Just pick your 10 or 12 players that you want to roll with for week 3 and enjoy the week 3 games for sure. And hopefully you can come away with some weekly cash there as well. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment on the video, share it with your friends, share it with your enemies, and get notified each and every time we go live right here, which will be tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure that you are hopping aboard for that. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the games tonight. For Jamey Joseph, I'm Eric Balkman. This has been the RotoViz High Stakes Lowdown. We will talk with you again tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to the High Stakes Lowdown, a RotoViz podcast brought to you by the Fantasy Football Players Championship. And thanks to Grapes for our theme music. Please review the podcast on Apple Podcasts under the RotoViz radio feed. It helps us find new listeners. Contact us via email at rotovizradio@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what you think and connect with us on X at RotoVizRadio. Remember, you can always support the show by subscribing to RotoViz at a 10% discount using the code RVRadio2025. That's RVRADIO2025 through the NFL Podcast homepage at rotoviz.com/podcast.